We're back. It's the Fill in the Blank podcast.
Life after film school. The Halloween special.
Episode 20.
That's right.
Which means it must be a spectacular.
It is a spectacular.
Or is it a spooktacular?
Oh! You're a nerd.
Yes.
Oh, that was
Episode
fantastic.
20 will be the Halloween special.
Spooktacular, yeah.
Halloween, Halloween, ooh, Halloween.
Victory.
Those sweet things are gonna happen.
That's right.
Ooh, Halloween spooks.
Yep.
Halloween
Yes.
behind the tree.
Yeah.
Behind the tree.
I wish that the children could see, but I can't find them for the life of me. And
Zeep, dop, doo, dop, doo, dop, dop, doo, dop. I love it. I love it. Happy Halloween, folks.
Yes.
Are you enjoying this? You should be.
All right. So we're going to talk about horror films and things of that nature in this episode.
I didn't even know that was coming.
I didn't tell about the Halloween spooks. If you listen to Kevin and Bean, you'll know that reference.
Oh, I didn't even know that was coming. I'm so happy about it, though. I'm so happy about it.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to talk about horror. We're going to do a little top 10
Yeah.
horror movie situation
Movies you
like
gotta
that.
see. Yeah.
Just talking about general things scary.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, I know you've got a couple things to say. I've got to talk about the last 2 weeks in movies because it's been ridiculous.
Okay.
Gravity and Captain Phillips
Right.
are like easily the two best movies that have come out this year.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I had that feeling the whole summer, like, this is kind of not a very good movie year.
And then all of a sudden.
And I think it wasn't for the summer. I think the
No.
summer movies were pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
Some of them not that good. But now we're getting into the Oscar type season, and this one's jam-packed.
Yeah.
Like it's like another summer. It's like every week until basically The Hobbit comes out.
No, it's true. It's true.
There's just going to be some either a big because you've got other movies like Ender's Game and Thor that should and also Hunger Games that are going to be huge money makers.
Yeah.
In addition to all these kind of really good prestigious type
Absolutely.
Oscar type films.
And quite frankly, the ones that they waited on, I'm sure are probably actually going to be better. Like
Yeah.
Hunger Games, the first one was good. I didn't feel like it captured the spirit, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah. I liked it. It was fine.
I'm confident that Hunger Games 2 is
It'll
probably
be a
gonna
good one. Yeah, the Gravity though I posted this on our Facebook page.
I saw that.
And a couple
I saw
of you guys
that.
saw that, but it's like easily the best movie I've seen in a couple years.
Right.
If you haven't already seen it, which a lot of people have, it's made a lot of money. See it in 3D for sure. Amazing. And Captain Phillips, which I saw last weekend, also very, very good, despite some of the things that I've been reading about how true it is, or some crew members disagree, some crew members agree. It's always happens when it's this recent past.
Yeah.
People are always like, wait a minute, that's not how I remember it, and some people are like, that's how I remember it.
Right.
So like it's one of those.
The point is, it's a movie.
Exactly, and it's really good.
Really
and
good.
Tom Hanks, like the last scene of that movie, you're just like, how does he not win Best Actor?
I wonder that almost every time he's on screen.
I know,
though.
but this is the last scene of this thing is some of the most raw acting I've ever seen.
Oh, very good.
So I'm already convinced he's going to be up. He might be up twice. He might be up for this and for playing Walt Disney, in
Which
the
I'm so
upcoming movie.
looking forward to.
And I'm
Saving Mr. Banks.
Yes. And I'm sure that Sandra Bullock will be nominated as well.
Okay.
Probably not George Clooney for that role.
Okay.
Because
But maybe Monument Men.
yeah, we'll see how that is. It could
Yeah.
be it could be too quirky for the Oscars.
Yeah.
Anyways.
On a related note,
Yeah.
I just want to. We give out movie reviews here.
Yeah.
I would just like to say something to other people who give out movie reviews.
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah. See, we haven't done enough of that. That's why I wanted to get my 2
Yeah.
cents in on those two films
Yeah,
before, because we haven't had the time really to do full on reviews. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I understand. We've fallen behind a little bit, but to those of you out there doing movie reviews, specifically to those of you doing movie reviews of Carrie,
Oh. Okay.
Halloween.
Now, did you see this yet?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you did. Okay.
I want to say to those of you out there who are giving this movie review, and it's most of you.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Carrie was good. It was well done. It was excellently executed and well acted. The problem is, there was nothing in it that I hadn't seen in Brian De Palma's Carrie.
That's not a valid review.
That's not a valid review.
You just said it was good, and it also is the story that they said it was going to be.
Correct. Correct. And I'm like, and everybody's comparing it to Brian De Palma's Carrie.
Okay.
As well as saying that, well, there's no new like story points. I'm like, where would
they get them from?
Right.
Yeah.
And first of all, if you're going to compare it to something, compare it to the book.
Yeah.
Because both of these movies are based on a book.
Right.
Which has not changed in 40 years.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's going to be the same story.
Yeah.
Did you not know that?
It's a remake.
Yeah. Did you not know that going into the theater? So a valid criticism is not, well, it was the same thing. Like, they didn't bring anything new to it.
Yeah, you can't say I already saw this. It's like, well, yes.
Yes. Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did. It's a remake.
But your children haven't. So they're going to go see it and be
Yeah,
like,
we can
oh my
discuss
God.
whether or not movies should be remade. But
Yes.
that's a different discussion.
That's a different discussion. Since it has been remade,
Yeah.
you just have to go, was that the Carrie story?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it good?
Was it well told?
Yeah.
And even the people who are giving it negative reviews are saying, yes, it was well told. Everybody
Yeah.
was a good actor. It was well told.
Yeah.
It was just the same story I'd already seen before.
Yeah.
Well, no
Well,
shit.
duh. Unless you haven't seen the first one. Then it's just a different story. So have you seen this movie?
Yeah.
And what did you think?
I thought it was great.
Okay. I haven't gotten
love
to see
the
it.
book.
That was one of the ones I wanted to see for Halloween.
I love the book.
Yeah.
And does it follow the same plot points as the Brian De Palma movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the book? Yeah.
Because they're both based on the book.
Yeah.
Which has the
The
same,
same plot points. It's not one of these ones where it's nothing like the book.
Right.
The movie already was pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're going to make the book again,
This is what it'll be. Yeah.
like,
Okay.
if you're ready to see the story of Carrie,
Then go see it.
go see this.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I had not. That's one of the ones that I was like, oh, that one could be on my list if I get these other
it's entertaining.
tentpole guys out of the way here. There's no Paranormal Activity this Halloween. There's no Saw this Halloween. So
Right.
That's
see
really
it.
what I go for.
Yeah. Go see it.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. I'll check it out.
It's like,
It looked like it was going to be good.
well, you got two good actors in the
Yeah.
movies there.
Yeah.
Everybody's good in it.
Okay.
Made by the director of Boys Don't Cry, so
So there were no boys crying in this, obviously.
there were plenty of boys.
Oh, really? He's a liar.
Well, when they're lit on fire, boys tend to cry a little bit more than.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is that. I also wanted to talk just really quickly about. There's this whole thing now, and you and I make jokes about it.
Mm-hmm.
About you and I call each other hipsters about things.
Yeah.
Like we're not hipsters.
Yeah.
Because that's just a fact.
Because
We're
we like Star Wars.
not. along with
every other
things.
thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And currently my jeans are not pinching my ankles.
Yeah, that's true too.
So-
I don't even wear jeans, so I'm really out.
Yeah. But occasionally you and I would be like I'll be like, oh, I don't like this, and you'll be like, you're totally hipster about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a joke.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my point of when does, and I want your opinion on this, when does liking things ironically just become liking things?
Oh yeah, that happens all. That's like 90% of the music that I like. I'm
Yeah.
like, this song's so dumb. Can you believe that they seriously sang these words? And then a month later, I'm like, this song's great. I love it.
I just like it now. And I'm going to go ahead and admit a dark secret on our podcast.
Okay.
Okay? Just to illustrate my point. Because there are lots of people out there who are like, oh, I don't like that. Or I like that because it's so ridiculous. Like, can you even believe how ridiculous? And then but I'm like, well, if you like it because it's ridiculous, I don't care why you like it.
Yeah.
You just like it. Sorry,
yeah,
hipster.
you like it.
Sorry, hipster friend. You just like it. Okay? And the example I'll give of this is Carly Rae Jepsen's Call Me Maybe.
Uh-huh.
When it started out, I was like, oh my God, this song is so dumb.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Now you're like, I like this.
I am a 30-year-old man
I like it.
who enjoys Carly Rae Jepsen's Call Me Maybe. And it started out because, honestly, I was like, oh my God, this song is so dumb. And it has a little, like, no.
Yeah.
No.
You're like, oh God.
I was like, ugh. This is like, so then I started liking it ironically, like, oh yeah, I totally like her.
Uh-huh.
But you know what?
Now you like it.
I've decided to give up ironic liking things.
Yeah.
If I ironic like something,
If you decide like you want to hear it and you can say whatever you want to say to yourself, you like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys can all go to hell. I'm just gonna say I like it now.
Uh-huh.
It's the same thing with like Prince.
Yeah.
Prince songs. I used to be like, oh God, Prince is such a weirdo, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I kind of like that song, but yeah, I hate Prince. He's such a weird. You know what? Screw it. I like Prince songs.
No, see, I'm the other way on him.
I understand that.
And it has nothing to do with him being a weirdo, which he is. I'm just like, I don't like your music.
No, and that's, see, now that's fair.
Yeah.
That's also straight up.
Yeah.
But I've decided to give up liking things ironically.
Yeah.
You know, every once in a while you find something you're just like,
oh yeah, this is great, huh, guys? Yeah, you do that. Yeah. Yeah, so it's just you really do it to cover your ass because you know deep down you like it, but you're embarrassed to like it.
I think that's what it is.
That's what
I think that's where hipsters are coming up. They're too afraid to commit emotionally.
Yeah, it's where
to something.
it's where you're like, oh man, that Justin Timberlake, huh? You like that new Justin Timberlake? Yeah, whatever. And then you're thinking, I wish it was on right now.
Yeah. So I've decided to give that up. I'm just gonna start liking things.
You just like it.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's what I do. Yeah, I'm just like, I just like this.
I just like it
for the most part. Sometimes I catch myself though.
Yeah.
Trying to pretend like I don't.
Right. Or like my wife, she likes, you know, like she was like, oh, I hate Journey.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't.
No, you don't.
She doesn't. Well, first of all,
Nobody hates Journey.
That's what I was about to say. This brings me to my due point. Nobody hates Journey.
Nobody hates them.
No. Everybody likes Journey.
Yeah.
Whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
Because they speak true.
Mm-hmm.
Journey has something to say for everybody.
They do. They've got a message.
They've got a message
to the people,
and it's just straight from the heart. So take that.
Yes. All right. Should we start talking about some horror and some Halloweenishness?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. So, let's just for briefly here, just kind of talk about horror movies.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. You're not doing this right.
Oh my God.
No, I know.
I didn't know there was a right and a wrong.
First of all, we're still at how many likes?
Oh yeah, you're right. We aren't doing this right. Yeah, we're still at 40. Yeah, we got other stuff to talk about first. Yeah, we're still at 40.
Yeah,
and I guess nobody wants a contest.
Nope,
is what I conclude from that.
That's what I'm guessing.
So we're gonna need you guys to tell 10 of your friends.
Yep,
and then you can win something because as Melody knows, if you enter, you win.
Yeah.
In our contest, if you enter, you win.
It's free stuff.
It's free stuff.
It's just like
here's some free stuff.
3 seconds of my day, and
I got free stuff.
I got paid for it.
That's what it is. So tell your friends to get on that Facebook.com/FITB Podcast and like it. And why like it? I mean, they're going to listen to the show now. I don't really care if there's 50 likes. I want 50 people that I know are listening to the show.
Sure.
That's what it's about. It's not about
we're providing
just having a number on a social media page. That's just the best way
to gauge
for us
what we
to
have.
gauge and for us to communicate. Yeah.
So
that's
we're
really
providing
what it's
you
about.
with entertainment.
Yeah.
At least you can provide us with
We're
acknowledgement.
We're providing you with entertainment for free, and we're trying to give you free stuff.
Yes.
All you have to do is tell someone. That's it.
Exactly.
There's zero cost to you here.
Yeah. You're getting all sorts of free stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. That is the case.
Yeah.
But also, of course, there's the iTunes. There's the Stitcher.
There's the
YouTube.
Yeah.
There's all those outlets. There's the website. So, get on that. Get your friends on that. That's really what I want to say. If you're already on this, you're on it. So get your friends on it.
Right. We're doing
or your
everything
family
we
or
can.
your dog. I don't care.
I don't care.
If your dog has an iPhone, subscribe them up.
I don't care.
I don't care, man.
I don't care. You
Okay.
don't know me.
All right. So now
You're going to play a jingle, and then we will talk about
what's
Halloween.
the jingle?
You're not going to do a topic of the day?
No, it's a spectacular.
It's a spectacular?
This is a spectacular.
Last spectacular, we had a topic of the day.
Well, this time there's going to be a special Halloween jingle right now.
This is Halloween, this is Halloween. Pumpkins scream in the dead of night. This is Halloween, everybody make a scene. Trick or treat, tell the neighbors gonna die of fright.
All right, that was our jingle.
There it was, special Halloween jingle. So what do you like? Where are you at on horror?
Well, sir,
Yep.
I like it.
See, that's the problem. Every time we're like, what about this genre? We're all like, I like it.
I understand that.
We like all the movies. We do.
You said that like a 70-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Oh, they like all the movies.
Yeah, we do.
The movies. It's 'cause
That's
you
right.
called it
We
the
like
movies.
all the movies.
I do like all the movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a problem.
Is it?
That's why how you know we're not hipsters, because we like all the movies.
Is it really a problem, though?
No. When you hear my top 10 list, you're going to be like, he is definitely not a hipster about horror movies. Because there's so many movies that so many people love to hate that he has on his list.
There's a few on my list like that, too. No. I like the horror movies. I feel that horror is a genre with the greatest percentage of suck.
Yes. Oh, yes. You're right. You're right. As a ratio, there's very few very good horror movies. There are a number of,
and yet it's one of the genres that I want the most to be good.
There's only, I would say there's like a good horror movie every other year.
At best.
At best.
At best.
And there's probably 15 to 20 horror movies released every year. There's so many bad horror movies.
Yeah, no, it's like a 10 to 20% ratio.
Right. You're right. It is true. It's bad. Yeah, but you're right. When it's good, it's so good. Because it's so one of the few ones that it's a visceral reaction. Like, like
it's like comedy. There's so many bad comedies.
Yes.
See, to me, the two are related.
Yeah, I think so too.
That comedy and horror are very much, they're the flip sides to the same coin.
Well, because they're not building, hopefully they're doing both. But in like a drama or a you know,
it's something extra. You need to have both the drama.
You're there and you're building into the characters as you watch the movie go by. And in horror, generally the character building isn't as good.
But when it is, that's when it works.
That's when it works. And they're also then building in just the jump scares and the things that you have no choice but to react to.
Yeah, which is also there's a technical side to a horror film.
And comedy is similar. There's some things that as a human being you have no choice but to laugh at.
Right. Like farts.
Yeah, people falling. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I really appreciate a good horror film. I just feel like they're so
It is hard to do. And yet at the same time, there's nothing I feel that can jumpstart your career.
Yeah, and we've talked about that a little bit before, and that horror is a great gateway for...
because you can do it cheap.
Someone who does want to get into the industry by doing independent films.
Yes.
Horror is a great genre because you can do it for nothing.
Right, and if you really, I mean, even directors... Okay, I'm going to start naming directors.
Okay.
You're going to...
I'm going to start naming directors. There he goes again.
You're going to disagree. I'm not saying these are all great directors. I'm just saying these are directors who are currently...
happen to be directors.
They happen to be directors who...
are working
and people know their name.
Okay.
So whether you agree or not that they're great directors, they are, in fact, successful directors.
They've made money doing
They've made
this
money and
for
made
Hollywood.
films. Yes. Yeah. Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Started in horror. I know you're not a big fan.
But you're right.
I'm not a big fan either.
Yeah.
But
he's doing a bunch.
He's doing it.
Yep.
Okay. Peter Jackson.
Yep.
Started out in horror.
Yep.
Kind of really similar to Sam Raimi, actually.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Amazingness. And, of course, the number one success story.
Yeah. Steven Spielberg.
Yes. Because both Duel
and Jaws.
Yeah. And I think the only thing he directed before Duel was like the Twilight Zone or something.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that horror is a crappy genre.
Yes.
Because you want to start a career, make a horror film.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Note to film school students, start on that horror film.
Well, and oddly enough, because you just said it, comedy is another one that can be done cheaply. That's another good way to start. And then, as we've discussed, like also, I think it's good. It works. Not only for the budgetary reasons, but because, as we were just saying, those are very difficult to make good.
Right.
So if you manage to make one, regardless of the budget, that's good, then that says something about you as a director.
Well, because it shows that you have to have very precise technical skills.
Yeah.
That's why, like, to me, someone like a James Wan is, regardless of whether or not you like his films, he is a master craftsman.
Oh yeah, he could direct a non-horror. I think he's found a little niche that he likes. But if he directed a non-horror movie, I'm sure it would be quite good.
Right, just because
at least it would be good. It wouldn't be a bad movie.
Right, whether you like his films or not. He demonstrated the technical skill to not only tell a story, but to tell a story
and to manipulate the audience.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And as you and I have often said, manipulating the audience is your goal as a filmmaker.
Yeah, that's the point.
So, sorry, Kubrick.
oh man. Someone's still on his Kubrick high horse.
Well, we'll get to The Shining.
Yeah, I know.
By the way,
I knew we would.
Okay, well, let's just talk about it now. Fun fact.
Yeah.
God hates The Shining.
God does?
Oh, yeah.
The book or the movie?
The movie.
How's this?
Because we've talked about how...
How's this work? The movie came
Where
out
am I going with
this
this?
movie's like 40 years old now.
I know.
Can you drop it?
No. Where is he going with this? God hates The Shining. We talked about how the book is about freezing.
Yes.
I mean, sorry, the movie's about freezing,
And the
where
book's
the book is about burning.
Yes.
Guess what God did to all the sets of The Shining while they were shooting?
He burned them.
He burned them down. He was like, "Hey guys, this is what The Shining's about."
He's like, why don't you turn your cameras on all day?
But it's a true fact. They had to rebuild a lot of the sets for The Empire Strikes Back. I found out because
The Shining Fire
the
came
Shining
over there
Fire
and got
burned
him.
him down. Yeah.
All right, now I hate The Shining because well, I guess The Empire came out pretty darn good.
Yeah,
But still, don't mess with my Star Wars.
Don't mess with
Kubrick.
Yeah, don't try to burn down Star Wars.
I didn't know that. Okay.
But I just thought that was funny because you were like, you completely got the metaphor of the book wrong.
And
God tried to show you, like, this is what it's about. And you still made it wrong. Either way.
All right, so let's get into our list a little bit here.
Oh, you want to start with the list?
You want to do that, or do you have anything else?
Well, I think we covered. I mean, we like horror because
We described it, and I think we've
it's good.
given our life after film school take on it as the go ahead and make one if you have a good idea, or a comedy for that sense.
And I like horror because I'm a fan of a ghost.
A ghost. See, that's like the movies. You can't call me out for saying the movies when
no,
you're going to
but-
say a ghost.
Well,
like
I was about to
a
paraphrase.
zombie.
Yeah, I was about to paraphrase Brad Pitt. I love a ghost.
Yeah, I like movies with ghosts. I like movies about the devil, possession.
sure.
I like those quite a bit.
This is, I guess, my final point, just on the theory of horror. What I'm not usually a huge fan of is torture porn.
Yeah, no.
Or slasher films. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I'm not into the slashers. You won't find a slasher on my list here.
No,
even
me
though
neither.
you could easily, have in your top 10 horror films Nightmare on Elm Street
Or Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Those are not on my list.
Those are not on my list either, and it's just because I feel
these are personal lists anyways, so
Oh, sure.
I'm not trying to say this is everyone's.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm right.
Yeah.
But I do kind of feel like just someone going around chopping people up.
Yeah. That doesn't scare me.
It doesn't. And it's cheap. It's cheap.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying that you can't do it right.
Yeah.
Because Hannibal Lecter goes around chopping people up.
Yeah.
But that's not what's scary about him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's not the chopping that's scary.
It's not the chopping that's
It's
scary.
not just, ooh, look, we had a cool effect shot with a bunch of blood and gore. That desensitizes you of what that does.
It grosses you out.
Yeah. Which is not the same.
Right.
There's no fear being built up in you.
Okay, so kind of going on this whole torture porn thing, I have a quote here from Stephen King.
Okay.
Who I think if anybody knows a little something about scaring
he knows
people,
something about horror.
He might know a little something about this. There are 3 types of terror.
Okay.
First one is the gross out. It's the sight of a severed head tumbling down a flight of stairs.
Okay.
Okay, it's when the lights go out and something green and slimy splatters against your skin.
Yes.
That's as simple as kind of...
Yeah. Which most of the really good horror movies do have one or two elements of that for a moment.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But that to me is exactly what torture porn or slashers are. They're
it's
that
just 90% that. Yeah.
Yeah. The second one is the horror. It's the unnatural. Spiders the size of bears, the dead waking up and walking around. It's when the lights go out and something with claws grabs you by the arm.
Okay.
Right? And that's another level up. That's a Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But actually, I shouldn't include The Walking Dead because I think The Walking Dead actually has the third type, which is, and it's the worst one, terror. This is when you come home and notice that everything you own has been taken away and replaced by an exact substitute.
Yeah.
Which the more you think about that, the more you're like,
Uh-huh.
that's weird. I don't like that. It's when the lights go out and you feel something behind you. You hear it. You feel its breath against your ear. But when you turn around,
nothing. Yeah,
nothing's
yeah. There. It's like it's like H.P. Lovecraft style.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff.
It's Hitchcock was the master of that.
Yeah.
Of there's nothing there, but there is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that to me is, and now we can talk about our films because that to me is exactly what makes a good horror film.
Okay.
It's when you encapsulate all three of those, not just any one. Although if you're going to do any one, do the third one first.
Sure. Yes. I wanted to talk a little bit about how, because this was an interesting process making my list.
Okay.
So I was like, this will be easy. Let me just pull up a page with a bunch of horror movies so I can remember what I'm looking at. And then I was like, well, how do I classify this?
Yeah.
Do I do it by like the Annals of Movie History, the AFI list, or do I go by the scariest, or do I go by what do I like best?
Right.
And I ended up kind of doing an amalgamation.
So did I. I kind of tried to incorporate all three.
I feel like it's mostly what I like, the movies that I enjoy the most personally, but then there were some that I was like, I can't not put this on the list, even though I'm not scared by it.
Right.
Personally, it's one of the greatest films of all time, so it must be on my list. And so I think it's kind of an amalgamation.
Okay, so you want to do your list first?
Well, I thought we'd just go. Should we just do each list? Or let's just do one list at a time.
Yeah.
I was going to count down together, but there's no reason to do that.
And then what I'll do is I'll mark off on my list
what I cover,
because I'm sure there's
going to be overlap. Well, let me talk about what's not on my list.
And then save your number one.
Okay, we'll save our number one. I'll bet you they're the same.
I bet you they are.
I have to say that here's some notables that did not make my list, but are great films. I don't want you to think that I don't like these films because they're not on my list. The Conjuring from this year.
Okay.
The Sixth Sense.
Sure.
Psycho. The Shining, even though you hate it, and The Omen.
Okay.
Those were some that it was very painful to not put on the list.
Okay, yeah.
But I didn't put them on the list because I thought it was more interesting to have some of these other films.
Adding to that, because I narrowed it down to 12.
Okay.
Some of those were on my list of things, but I was just like, I'm going to be a badass and cut them.
Yeah,
but
that's what I did.
But I'll just add 2 to that, just because I have 12 on my list and I can only have 10. I would like to add to that the Blair Witch Project.
Okay, I thought about that one.
Yeah. And
I'm actually not a huge fan of that though, so it wasn't too hard. That was one that I was like, well, this one historically is important, but I don't really like it, so it's not.
I actually do like that one. I do like that one, and you can't deny it, the effect that it's had on films today. And the other one is Freaks.
Oh, I don't even know Freaks.
Oh my goodness, Freaks is a movie. I want to say it's from the 30s. Where they used actual circus freaks.
Oh, okay.
And the storyline of it basically is like a woman who's married to one of the freaks.
Yeah.
Falls in love with the circus strongman, and she cheats on him, and then all the freaks show up and like kill everybody.
Oh, okay.
It was banned for many, many years because they thought it was too both politically incorrect because it was all freaks and stuff like that, and also just too freaky.
Yes.
So, yeah, check that one out.
Okay, the other one, that Paranormal Activity, also did not make my list.
It did not make mine. I love that movie.
But I find it scary.
The reason it didn't make my list is because I put Blair Witch Project on there, and without Blair Witch, there would be no Paranormal.
Right, although I think Paranormal Activity vastly improved upon the
I agree.
Blair Witch. But yes, I like the Paranormal Activity movies too, despite what other people would probably want us to say. I
also did not include Saw.
Oh, I did.
So we'll get to that.
Okay, so my number 10 then, and this is one that I was like, I'm not scared by this movie at all, but I have to put it on a list of the best horror movies, which is Jaws. So it's my number 10 because it's not. The top of my list are the ones that are more scary to me.
Right, Jaws is just one of my favorite movies, and
it's just one of the best movies ever made. Yes. So it has to be on a list.
It actually is not on my list. It is actually not on my list, simply because.
It doesn't feel like a horror movie. It is, though.
It is. It totally is. And it's because I didn't think of it until after I'd already made my list.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, but that's not really a horror movie.
Yeah.
Because, like, my favorite scene in that movie is where they're sitting around the table.
Yeah.
And he tells him, hey, give me a kiss. He's like, why? Because I need it. Like, that's one of the best scenes in cinema history.
Yeah.
And I guess Jaws should be on my list, but it's not.
So that's one of the ones that was on my list because I was like, I can't not put. People will freak out if I don't put this on the list.
I'm glad you put it on because Jaws is. I love that movie so much.
It's not. I'm not scared by sharks. So there is obviously it's a horror, but it doesn't make me scared to go in the water.
I think that your terror concerning sharks
yeah.
is directly proportional to your relation, your distance from them.
Oh, okay.
I think
you're
right
scareder
now,
from them if you're farther.
I think right now I'm not afraid of them at all.
Oh, okay.
If I was in the water and I saw the fin.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around. See, I thought you were saying because
No, that would be directly improportional.
Oh, that's true. But yeah. I was thinking you were saying people who don't live by the ocean are more terrified of sharks than people that do.
That's probably true. That's also true.
Yeah.
I'm also saying that if I was in the water and I saw the fin, I'd be terrified.
You'd be terrified. Okay.
So
that's true. My number 9 is Nosferatu.
Oh, okay. That's number 10 on my list.
Okay.
Because
it's Nosferatu.
It's Nosferatu. And it's awesome.
Yeah, it is scary.
It is very scary. And I put that up because there is no Dracula on my list.
That is the Dracula.
That is the Dracula.
That is the definitive Dracula. And
yes.
No one has made a better one, which is surprising because it could easily be done.
Right.
But it's very good Dracula though. I like it and it's scary. And actually the silent aspect of it, I know it's old and that's why it's silent, but that actually makes it creepier.
It makes it creepier.
It really does.
Plus the guy playing Dracula, Max Schreck.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Terrifying
looking to start
nobody wants to see that guy in a dark alley,
true.
right?
It's true.
Side note.
Yeah.
NBC?
Yeah.
Go to hell.
Oh, from their show?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's all that needs to be said about that.
Yeah.
Number 8 for me is the Saw series.
Okay.
On that one, I will not try and tell people that those are good. I just happen to personally love those movies.
Okay, fair enough.
The first one actually is a pretty darn good horror
I'm sorry,
movie.
the first one's a good movie. The second one is a good movie.
The drop off as far as quality is not that great, and it drops like the third one's I think the worst, and then they actually get better. And
see, but after the second one, to me, they start venturing into torture porn territory.
No, they really don't, because it's a matter of, I guess, in a way they do, but in a way they stay true to the fact that you think you saw a lot more than you actually did.
I will agree with that, but
I still like
the third one especially was just like,
well, by the time
let's see how horrible we can get.
By the time you get to the third one, it's all just I'm basically there to see what kind of crazy contraption they come up with this time.
See, that's called torture porn.
Well, I like the contraptions because they're like Rube Goldberg machines.
All right, I understand that that's a little bit different. It's not just like a knife,
it's not just chopping people up, and they always have a choice and stuff. So there's a twist on it. You're right. I could understand someone saying that it turns into that. I still like it.
Understood.
It's a guilty pleasure. I would consider those movies a guilty pleasure.
Okay, and I will agree with you that the first two are very good.
Yeah. Number 7 on my list is Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh, that one did not make my list.
Also one where you're like, is it horror? Yes, it is. But really is. It doesn't necessarily feel like it all the time. But the ending certainly does.
The ending does too.
It's just a straight up horror movie.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Silence of the Lambs did not make my list.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that we're having some overlap that's not the same so we can discuss the movies.
But that was a hard cut for me. That was a hard cut. Because Silence of the Lambs was the first movie where it ended. Because I watched it, I was actually at my home. Because I was young, you know. But I watched it at my home. It ended. And I thought to myself, oh my God. Real people are terrifying.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go lock every door in the house.
Because it wasn't like just a masked murderer guy.
Well,
it was like these are like real humans.
He's just a normal guy, a really smart guy, a really charming guy who eats people.
Yeah, and it could be someone I know.
Right, it could be your next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Not on the list at all, but related to that, gave me the same feeling. Actually, was a moment in the movie Unbreakable, where the guy knocks on the door. He's like, "Hey," he says something, and then just busts in the door and. You're like, oh shit, that's right. Real people do.
Yes, they
things.
do horrible things. Yeah, I was thinking about the Shyamalan stuff because I was like, well, Sixth Sense. I didn't consider Unbreakable a horror movie. It's really the Sixth Sense. Signs you could consider a horror, but
Signs I would. It's not on
my
list.
I don't. So I was like, of his movies, The Sixth Sense is the most horror movie, and I don't want to put it on my list, but I like it.
I love it.
I like the other ones better. It's not.
I see Sixth Sense is right up there for me, but there's a lot of people who hate like Signs and stuff. Yeah, and I just think you're a bad person.
Yes. So number 6 for me is The Descent.
Oh, interesting choice. That wasn't even a consideration.
Terrifies me.
Really?
Yes. They go into the cave, and it's like all women. They go into that cave.
Yeah, no, it's
good. And there's scary cave people. That movie's terrifying to me.
Interesting. I feel like we're getting a little bit of a taste of Greg on this.
Yes, you are. I'm trying to give you what I find. What is scary? What are my favorite ones because they're scary.
And that's good. And the reason I feel that way is because you are a hiker. You're someone who likes to go hiking.
Yes.
And I could see where that would versus to me, like I like that movie. Yeah. It's very good.
Yeah.
Well, it's good.
It's a good horror movie.
Yeah. But I don't know that it struck me quite as at the core as it did for you because you go hiking, you go to these places, and you could easily envision yourself happening upon this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that's an important part of finding the horrors that really affect you is what scenario.
Well, and it's got interesting cinematography too, because it's so dark.
Yeah.
So there's so much. It's literally just choice in what will you see? Because most of the frame will be black 90% of the movie.
Yeah.
So I think that's an interesting technical aspect.
No, it's well made. You're right. I like that.
Then my number 5 is Insidious.
Okay, I love the Insidious. Also not on my list. I'm very pleased with how not overlapping
this is
our
good.
lists are.
Because Insidious is terrifying to me again.
Insidious, I thought was very
and the sequel was very good too.
It didn't get very good reviews.
I liked it a
but
lot.
I feel like, what did you want?
That's exactly what I wanted.
That's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I want whatever comes next too.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen Insidious, I would recommend it. And we've talked about James Wan and Insidious and The Conjuring on the show, so you know my feelings on all that.
Yes, and I also feel like Insidious is one of those rare things where it's not just chopping people up.
Yeah.
There's a ghostly aspect where we're dealing.
There's almost no blood in that.
Right.
If any.
It's two movies that we will talk about later combined, kind of.
Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna get into. Probably my top 4, we're going to have some serious overlap.
I am sure.
My number 4 is Alien.
That is my number 9.
Okay. That movie's scary.
Movie's scary. It's sci-fi, but it definitely is horror.
Yeah.
And it's horror on so many levels.
Yeah.
It has the gross out that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But it manages to have the gross out and the unnatural and the terror all in one sequence with the chest burster thing.
Uh-huh.
That's gross.
Yeah.
But there's something else there too. It's the idea of having something inside of you.
Yeah, it's that.
It's and ultimately it plays on what I think is on a human level the most natural fear ever, which is something wants to eat you.
Uh-huh.
Like if you're for student filmmakers out there, if you want to start somewhere, start it there.
Yes.
Because there's not a human alive.
Wants to eat you.
There's not a human alive who if you ask them, hey, you want to be eaten? They're going to be like, yeah. Like that's a natural animal fear.
Yeah.
Is something wants to eat you.
And then my number 3 is The Ring.
Oh, I had to cut that one from my list.
You had to cut The Ring?
That was a hard one for me because I was trying to find more modern ones.
Oh, okay.
That I thought, this is a really good movie.
Yeah.
I like The Ring.
Yeah.
And I like The Ring.
The Ring is one that serves as a horror movie maybe the first few times you watch it, and then because you know what's coming is not necessarily as terrifying, but then it's just a great movie. Like it's got a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of rewatchability in it.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of little things here and there that you don't pick up on necessarily on the first time through.
Well, and I think one of the great shots of that movie.
Yeah.
Is and it encapsulates to me why The Ring is more than just.
It's a great score too.
It really does. I have it on my playlist right now for Halloween.
Yeah.
The shot to me that encapsulates why The Ring is more than just. Ooh, is she shows her ex-husband or boyfriend or the father of her son the tape, and she steps outside. Now, this is to me why it makes it great because you can still hear some of the sound effects from that, and you've already seen it.
Yeah.
So but she steps outside and she looks across the way at the apartment building across the way, and it's just like a 15-second shot of watching how everybody you can see in that apartment building is watching TV.
Yeah.
The accessibility of being able to get someone through TV.
Yeah.
And therefore, I mean, I sometimes an apple is just an apple.
Yeah. That's not.
But it's not. Like, it's kind of making a statement. Like, this is the... And you've always had ghost stories like that.
Yeah.
Also, any movie that can show you something where you go, oh, God, I wish I hadn't seen that.
Yeah.
And then you leave the theater, like, not wanting your phone to ring.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Good job,
it's
movie.
It's good, yeah.
Good job, movie.
Or next time you see, like, static on your TV, you get a little scared. My number 2 is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Okay, hold on. You
Okay.
just said that about static?
Yeah.
I just want to make this note. The other night, I was working on cutting down a script with my friend Ian.
Uh-huh.
And we stepped outside and we were talking and stuff like that. 2 buildings down from me. I'm just tall enough to see this over the top of the building. It's like 12:30 at night.
Uh-huh.
There's a bedroom, no lights on, just static on the TV. Terrifying.
That is terrifying.
That is terrifying. I came back like 2 hours later.
Uh-huh. Nah, still in you.
And I'm like, who just leaves static on their TV like this? Why is this happening? I just expected to see someone standing in the window at some point. It was terrifying.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so number 2 is John Carpenter's The Thing.
I knew you were going to put that on your list.
I had to.
That's why I didn't.
That's
put it on
why
my
I
list.
didn't. Great movie. Like John Carpenter's best movie.
Right.
Because most of his movies, I'm like, that was kind of funny. Was that supposed to be scary, John Carpenter?
Right.
And this is one of those ones, too, kind of like, even though it's not a horror, but we were talking about it with the Westerns. Oh, shoot. What the heck's it called? With Tombstone.
Oh, okay.
In that huge, it's one of these ones where there's lots of behind-the-scenes stories about all the issues they had on this set and reshooting vast portions of the movie and rewriting like on the day and then the next day being like, we're not shooting what we said we would shoot because we rewrote everything, but still manages to turn out as a great horror film. And really interesting because that one's all about isolation and
no, it is.
It's something that has the, it's about a thing that could take over the whole world. But it's all isolated, so it's scarier because there's 6 of us.
Right. Right. No, it is very, very good. I like that one. I haven't seen that one in a while. I should go back and watch that one. Let me see your number 1. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Yep.
Yeah, I figured so. Okay, so we'll save that. So let's go with yours, and we've covered a couple of them.
Yeah. Okay, so my number 10, just to recap, was Nosferatu.
Correct.
My number 9 was Alien.
Okay.
My number 8 is actually the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
Now, I know I just went on a whole rant.
Yeah, we just talked about how you wouldn't have this on your list.
Correct.
Here it is.
But the original one is kind of, I feel like, a precursor to a Blair Witch Project because of the way it's shot.
True. That's true.
It's very, you feel like this is not a movie.
You feel like someone found it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like it's like some sort of weird snuff film.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So I do give it some credit. It's kind of in a similar category. It's not on my list, but Henry, the Portrait of a Serial Killer, is like this too, where you're like, is this a movie or did you just like put this on?
Yeah.
So I do, and I put Texas Chainsaw Massacre on there as a nod.
Yes.
To, yes, I understand that sometimes chopping people up can be scary.
Yeah. And
if you're going to chop people up and be scary, this is it. This is the one.
True. Yes, that's the one you should do.
Because it's so concentrated.
Yeah.
It's just, they don't even spend time like, oh, you should like these people.
No.
They don't even spend time with that.
They're all just getting chopped up.
It's just
yeah,
psychopaths.
Yeah.
So I gave it a nod.
Okay.
Psycho comes next on my list.
Okay. Yes, that was one of my notable. Didn't make the list,
right?
Because it's not scary to me, but in the
annals of film history,
in the whole genre of horror, it's very important.
It is very important,
and it's Hitchcock.
And once again, this is where I feel like my torture porn ends, because torture porn would not exist, without Psycho.
Yeah.
Now, for all of those of you out there who love torture porn, Psycho was a lot more than just stabbing people.
Yeah.
There is one stabbing sequence in the
There's only one.
No, I guess there's two because he stashed.
That's right.
On the stairs.
Yes.
But that's not why it's scary.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand at the time it was, and
yeah.
Either way, moving on.
Yeah.
Psycho's great.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that. Next on my list, Night of the Living Dead.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get any zombie movies on my list.
No zombies?
No zombies made my list. I thought about it, and I was like, just don't really like any of the zombie movies that much. Like 28 Days Later came to mind.
Oh, that was my another notable cut for me.
But then I was like,
but I felt like Night of the Living, like
zombie. If you're gonna pick a zombie, go with that.
Go with that.
Okay.
And 28 Days Later is a fantastic movie. Please go see that movie. I'm the one who brought it to America. I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
I don't think you did.
Well,
I'm just going to go out there and go ahead and say no.
Yeah, it was, nobody had heard about it. I went to England. I saw it there. And I was like, holy crap, this movie's amazing. It needs to come out in America. it wasn't like until 9 months later that it came out in America. So I was like telling everybody, you got to go see this movie. It's amazing. And they're like, I've never heard of this. And I was like, go see it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I brought it to America. I didn't really, but Night of the Living Dead, obviously classic.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you're kind of like, yeah, I get it. They spend like an hour trying to establish what a zombie is.
It's true.
But all the rules and stuff that we know about zombies today come from this movie.
Yes.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Quickly, The Omen was.
Yes. Which was another one that.
I just like this one.
It's just a good movie.
Yeah,
I just couldn't quite, because all these other ones I'd rather watch, I think, is the kind of how I did it. I was like, oh, I love The Omen, but I'd probably watch these ones first.
Right. See, I really like watching The Omen.
Yeah.
And
well, Gregory Peck.
That's what I'm saying. Who doesn't want to see Atticus Finch take on the devil?
That's right.
Atticus Finch versus the devil. What do you need?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving into my more personal list.
Okay.
The Mist.
Okay.
I love
That's a more
movie.
recent Frank Darabont.
Yes, Frank
adaptation.
Darabont, Stephen King.
Uh-huh.
I like this one. I would say for the same reason that you like The Descent.
Yes.
Is that not that I spend all my time in supermarkets,
Uh-huh.
but it feels very close to home.
This could happen.
This could happen. And
The Mist was good.
And there's really
I feel like that one actually is the same level as The Descent, where you're like, well, that was good.
Yeah.
But no one, you don't expect anyone else to be like, this was the greatest movie.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, I really like it. And I love the fact that there's just none or barely any explanation as to why this is happening.
And then there's just demons slamming against the window of the
it's just
supermarket.
like,
And you're like, oh my God.
This is happening.
You're like, this is a military base. Maybe.
I
don't know. Who cares? We're being attacked.
That's right. This is happening. Does it really matter why? And that's a hard thing to pull off, actually, though, I think.
That's true.
But I give Frank Darabont a lot of credit. I think he's better than people gave him credit for.
Well, yeah, because The Walking Dead was good.
And any movie where the ending can be different than the story.
That's true.
And then the author goes, I wish I thought of that.
Uh-huh.
Which is what Stephen King is quoted as saying about The Mist. He loves The Mist.
Yeah.
It's one of his favorite adaptations of his own work.
Yeah.
And he goes, why didn't I think of that ending?
Yeah.
If you can do that to the guy who wrote the original story.
Good for you. Yeah.
Good job. Next on my list, I'm not going to talk about a whole lot because it did last week.
Okay.
The Haunting.
The Haunting, yes. We've covered that.
Yes. Go see it.
Go see it. It's good.
Very good. Best ghost story.
You'll be like, I've seen this before, but this was the first one.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
What number?
This is my number 2.
Okay.
This is my The Thing.
Okay.
Because you love The Thing.
Yeah.
More than any person should.
Yeah.
Or I think that more than you can ask any person.
Yes.
My movie like that, which is funny that my number 2 is like that too.
Uh-huh.
Poltergeist.
Yes, I know. You love Poltergeist.
I freaking love Poltergeist.
I don't find Poltergeist to be that scary.
It's not, but I love it. And it's so obviously directed by Steven Spielberg.
I know, it's true.
And it's Tobe Hooper who directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Kind of directed it. But Steven Spielberg stepped in and really directed it. But I freaking love Poltergeist. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's like Little Girl Lost from the Twilight Zone meets ghosts and I don't know. It part of it is childhood stuff.
That one's fine.
But
you got to have that. That's fine. And that would be on other people's list.
It would be on other people's list, and I put it forward because it's like, really, name me more ghost movies that are better.
Well, that's true, because there's not a whole lot of ghosts going around. The Conjuring, that's why you need to see that one.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
It's a straight-up ghost movie.
I like ghost movies.
Yeah.
And there's like 5.
There's not very many ghost movies, and most of them suck. Yeah.
Exactly. So Poltergeist would be The Thing.
That's good.
Because I love it.
Okay, well, number 1, let's just say it together, 3, 2, 1, The Exorcist. By the way,
everybody knew that was coming.
A minute ago, you were like, what's better than Gregory Peck when Atticus Finch battling the devil? I was like, Max von Sydow. Yeah. That's what.
Yeah, no, you're right.
That's better.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But, like, no kidding. I hate to be
cliche.
And now I'm being hipster about my own list.
Yeah, now you're being like, oh, I put a bunch of movies that everyone likes.
Right.
You didn't, though.
No, but I put a number 1 that, of course, everybody says.
But it is.
But it is.
It is my favorite.
It is my favorite. It's the best made. It's the scariest.
Yeah.
It's everything that we've been talking about. It's The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And if you don't find The Exorcist scary, then there's something wrong with you.
Or maybe, here's the reason why I found that people don't like The Exorcist.
They never saw it in theaters?
No. They have a huge thing in their head about the Catholic Church and how much they hate it, and they can't get over that to just watch the movie. I've talked to people who are, because there's a lot of people that hate the Catholic Church. I've talked to these people, and they're just like, ugh, I just don't want to see anything with the blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, but forget about that. Just watch the movie. Like, I don't care about your personal opinion about a religion.
Oh, interesting.
Just watch this movie.
I've not encountered that.
That is a thing that gets in people's way.
I've often hypostulated that.
I like it because of that. Because
I'm just making up words now.
Hypostulated?
Yeah.
It's postulated and hypothesized.
Yeah.
I like it.
Hypostulated. Hypostules, the Greek philosopher. No, but I have noticed that people who see it at home video first tend to feel like, it was scary.
Yeah, there's a shared experience thing with it.
But when you see it in theaters and people are laughing because they're too terrified to do anything else.
And also there's a lot of that movie that requires silence for a scare. Like, for something to be as creepy as it can be, it requires the total silence of a movie theater, which you'll never get at home. You can sit there by yourself, but you'll have other sounds.
Well, and anytime that you can go, like, this is getting scary,
I'm gonna pause it and walk away.
And go get a hot dog.
That's a problem. Yeah. I'm going to go to the bathroom, so let me just pause this. Well, now you're completely out of it.
You ruined the whole movie.
Yeah, because that builds. That movie builds.
It definitely builds.
Yeah.
It definitely builds. But that, to me, is a perfect example of, because there's so much character development.
Yeah.
Like, you really get to know these people. They go, and it's one of those movies where they work really hard
to debunk what they're saying.
Yes.
I love that about it. That's my favorite part about it, because most of these movies are
like, oh, it's scary.
People are like, I'm going to go down here and not turn the lights on. And you're like, you're so dumb. No one does anything dumb in this. Everyone does exactly what you would do.
And that's exactly my number one thing about horror films, which The Exorcist demonstrates, and I want to say about horror films as a genre. Your horror film is wrong.
Yeah.
If anybody's doing stuff that a normal person wouldn't do.
Right. I was just, there's someone made a thing, and I'll try and put the link up if I can find it again, that I watched. It's like a movie trailer for a horror, like the horror movie, but it's like the logical horror movie. So it's like the most mundane, boring movie ever, because everyone's just doing what anyone would do. They're just like, well, I'm not going in there. And they just leave. and then they're just like, they just leave. And they're like just having a party in Mexico.
Nice.
They're just like, no, I wouldn't go in there. So like, it's like the logical horror movie, which is, I mean, there's a reason why that's funny, is because every horror movie, you're like, oh my God. You know what I didn't put on the list that I would have liked to is Cabin in the Woods, even though it's kind of a comedy.
Yeah.
That would
it's definitely a horror movie.
It skewers it's worth bringing up.
It is. It is. And actually, because I think that one of the movies on your list that people might be like, really? Was Insidious.
Yeah.
But Insidious goes out of its way to remove every single logical barrier.
It could be.
Yes. Yeah. And I appreciate any horror movie that takes the time and effort to try to tell you, I understand it could be
I thought that too.
I thought that too, but it's not.
Clearly it's not.
It's something else.
Yeah. And
now what?
And that's what's the most scary about The Exorcist.
It really is.
Because because there's just people who are just going through like depression and stuff because of it. And so you're like,
and it's so horrible.
It's exactly what you would imagine that this would be for you.
By the time she goes to The Exorcist,
you're just awful. Yeah. She's miserable.
You're miserable.
Yeah.
And you just feel like,
and the whole time you're like, why are we really even watching this priest and learning about him?
Right.
Because there's these parallel stories. And you're like, she is miserable.
I wrote the essay that actually got me into film school about The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to bring up about The Exorcist, which was kind of one of my main themes in that paper, was that movie gets in your head. Mm-hmm. And it gets in your head on various little levels. A lot of ways that you don't think about. The sound design is amazing in that. Just the start.
There's a whole sound motif with clocks ticking that creeps the crap out of you.
Yeah, clocks ticking, the banging of hammers. If you watch the first
the beginning, if you watch that and you're not really into it, you're like, I don't even know what that was.
Yeah,
but if you really watch it, then it makes the rest of the movie that more scary.
Well, and that movie is a master of. Nothing terrible happened there.
Yeah.
And I am terrified.
You're so scared at the beginning and nothing. You just saw shots of like the Middle East.
Of an old man walking around.
Yes.
It's like guy had no eye.
Guys in like Iraq walking around.
Right.
And you're like, I don't know why.
And it's because, and I've broken it down. It's the sound design, the hammers banging, it builds, the clock ticking, silence, dogs fighting.
Yeah, the dogs,
You're just like, this is terrifying.
I don't know why.
No.
It's how I feel like the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey was supposed to somehow be. Like you were supposed to get something like that out of it, even though I didn't.
I didn't. But yeah, I hope that the beginning of that movie, you're just like, I'm totally afraid right now, and nothing has happened. An old man walked in the desert, and I am terrified.
You went to the small shop. I don't understand. Yeah.
And the other thing that because sound design is amazing and that music's amazing. But
tubular bells.
Oh yeah. Well, and the other sound design that just they know what they're doing. Yeah. The old man knocks on the door. And he's like, hello, I'm Father Marin. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I know it's like, Marin! And you're like, ah! Like, you just want to run out of the theater. Yep. Like, just when you thought, well, I've seen how foul-mouthed this demon can be. Yes. All it did was set a name, and you're like, no! This is not going to go well. But the other thing I obviously have to throw is just flashes of white faces places.
Yes, the freeze frames and the weird things that they don't really focus on but just happen. Like that's the mastercraft there.
Yeah, because you're looking around going,
who saw that? Did anyone else see that?
I hope someone else saw that.
Because you literally think, well, that was just my imagination. Yeah. You do until you talk about it afterward and everyone's like, yes. But
well, and it's not just like you think it's your imagination. Yeah. You hope it's not your imagination.
You hope that it wasn't. Well, yeah, you hope that it was in there.
Yeah. Please, God, let somebody else have seen that, because if not, oh no. Oh, God. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
No, and the one that like is, it's not like a flash frame like that, but it every time is
behind the door.
Yeah, she leaves, and if like your room's not dark enough or your TV is not set to the right color settings, you won't see it.
Yes.
But she like walks out of the kid's room, and the door slowly closes behind her, and there's the statue from the beginning,
the Pazuzu
behind her door, just in like shadow.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying the first time you see it, because you might not be the first time you even see the movie.
This is exactly how you see it. You're like, oh, she's leaving.
Okay. Why are we still in this room?
I don't understand why we're still.
Oh
God! That's how you first see it. Yeah, absolutely. And then of course you add in the gross outs of the
barfing and the crucifix,
the barfing, all that stuff.
And it's got a Ouija board in it.
It does have a Ouija board.
It's got a Ouija board.
Captain Howdy.
Captain Howdy. Yep.
Yeah, you'll never Ouija.
And you'll never be more scared by just a telephone ringing in the lawyer's office.
That is true. He's just sitting there listening to the ring. You're like, ah! Right. Our like 200 and some pound friend jumped about 12 feet in the air when that happened. Yeah. See, it's just little things like that.
It's so good.
You're like,
I want to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might have to watch that before Halloween.
Oh, I always watch that before Halloween. I watch it sometimes just
cause. Well, that's another one. That's just it's a Jaws level.
It is
movie.
It is.
It's a great film.
If you see it enough times, some of the terror. I mean, not all of it, and that's a testament. Not all. This is not one of those movies where the complete terror goes away.
Yeah.
Because you're still like, ah. But it's not as scary.
Yeah.
Where like you're afraid to turn out your lights afterwards.
Yeah.
But you can still just watch it and enjoy the story.
Yeah.
And the ending doesn't let you off the hook. This is the last thing I want to say about The Exorcist. Is at the end, I want you to know.
You can spoil this movie if you haven't seen it by now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you haven't seen it, go stop the podcast and go see it right now.
Watch it. Come back. We'll finish this.
Yeah.
We're waiting. Okay. Now, the end of this movie, the demon wins.
He was more powerful than humans.
Yes.
Which is what they've been telling you since the start.
Yes. And the demon wins not only in the movie, but in the movie theater. Because the demon, at a certain point, you go, yeah, you beat the fuck out of that girl. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Like, and any movie they can get you to do that.
Get that little girl.
Oh, no. You won with me.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yep.
Well done. I'm going to leave the theater hating both myself and you.
And demons.
Yeah.
And no matter what your view, you believe in.
Yeah, you believe in that demon.
Evil a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, it might be real. Even though I just sat and watched it, I knew it was a movie because I paid to see it.
Yeah. I paid to see it.
I think that might be real.
There's credits at the end.
I think that might be real.
I'm worried that could happen.
Yeah.
You know? That's one of those movies that makes you ever go out at night to your car to get something?
Yeah.
And then you start walking back, and you're just like, I need to run away.
I need to get inside right now. Yeah.
That's one of those movies that gives you that feeling.
And it's worse if you're home alone, because then you're like, I got to get inside. And then you get inside and you're like,
I'm still
it's not
alone.
safe in here either. It's not safe at all.
You're like,
it's too quiet. It's too quiet. Let me turn the TV on. And you're like, should I turn the light on in my bedroom and just leave it on?
Yeah.
You're like turning lights on everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some nights all the lights are out and you're just in there and you don't even think of it.
But I'm a 30-year-old man who still sometimes runs in the house from my car.
You look around. You step outside and shut your car door, look around, and then just run.
Yeah. It happens. And I would like, and just on a related Exorcist note, part of the reason that might be is because the night after the first time I saw The Exorcist was in theaters.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah. It was when they re-released it, because
Yeah.
obviously we weren't alive when it first came out.
Obviously. I mean, I knew things of it.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, oh, it's the scariest movie ever. And I went to that theater going, I'll be the judge of that.
See about that. It's
see about that.
30-year-old movie.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a movie. I mean, how scary could it be?
Yeah.
I went to bed that night.
Yeah.
And, it took me a little, I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. I'm not going to lie. I was like, damn, that's a scary movie.
Yeah.
Went to bed. Middle of the night, my dad and my brother shake my bed.
Did they do it on purpose?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, those dicks.
They totally knew I'd seen the Exorcist.
Oh, man.
And they went,
That's horrible. Yes, that wasn't good.
I may or may not have cried.
You know what? Actually, I think it also deserves a mention here. I was like, let's wrap this show up. And then I was like, oh, shit. Because this is another movie where when I first saw it, I then thought about it for a long, long time about, what if that happened like in my kitchen? Jurassic Park.
Oh, sure.
It's not fully a horror.
No.
But there's a lot of horror elements.
Yeah, it's related to Jaws.
I mean, that's one of those ones where, like, it's PG-13, and I'm like, if your kid's 13, I don't know. Like, they're still probably like dinosaurs quite a bit. You might want to be careful with that.
Yeah.
No, that one is one where it was done so realistically, I guess.
Yeah.
That it stuck with you in a way.
It's scary. It's scary.
Yeah.
And you think about it. Well, once again, we're back to something's going to eat me.
Yeah, something's going to eat me. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So I think we should.
So either way, go see those movies.
Yeah.
Go see those horror movies. And, happy Halloween, folks.
Happy Halloween. This will be our last pod before the Day of the Dead.
That's right. And
say.
remember.
What?
It is behind you.
Oh. So, yes, hit us up on the Facebooks with your friends. We got to get to 50 for a contest. YouTube.com/FITB Films is where you always find the enhanced version.
Go check on Stitcher.
Fillintheblankfilms.com, Stitcher,
Absolutely.
iTunes. Subscribe on there. Review us on there if you like.
Please.
Don't worry about Twitter. All right. We will take you to the streets.
Take it to the streets.
See you next time.
Yeah, that's a trick-or-treating thing now.
Yeah.
Take it to the streets, guys.